Welcome to Where Talent Meets Opportunity, a business show that provides our viewers with business strategies, tips, and information for starting, running, maintaining, and growing any small business. We have a great show planned for you today.
And welcome to Where Talent Meets Opportunity. I'm your show host, Jay McElroy. And today our subject is, are you secure? And we are here today with Derek and Roger. And I'm going to say from TIC Securities. So we're going to talk to them today about their business and why it is so unique. And you don't want to go anywhere because I'm telling you, this is a phenomenal company. It is growing, and they're going to talk to us about technologies and about things that you probably never thought about when it comes to security. So Roger, we're going to talk to you briefly about your background. If you'd share just a tad bit of how you got the company started and a little bit about who you are.
Thank you. My name is Roger Chindia. I started in security 20 years ago. I left after serving in the U.S. Army. I wanted to get into something that was in the same milieu of what I was doing.
And thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I took a job at a company that was owned by Honeywell Industries in the warehouse. Started just at the most basic level to kind of learn the industry and move up, and it worked. I got to learn security from the ground up. I got to meet Derek Radowski there, and a lot of individuals in our industry now that we stay friends with, and who have grown in the industry. And from there, as pre-9/11 security was happening there, a lot of commercial build-outs for access control and for technology being used. And I headed more into the lines of the federal contracting world with Johnson Controls post 9/11.
Okay.
And Johnson Controls at that point had promoted me to a federal executive under servicing the intelligence communities, which was a great learning experience. Got to service the biggest intelligence communities in the civilian world. And enjoyed myself there, and I then took a job as the sales manager for civilian for General Electric, specializing in narcotics and explosive detection, with a group within General Electric at that time called Homeland Protection, which did screening and ionization of particles to find traces of narcotics and explosives in everywhere, from federal buildings to jail, to prisons, and to normal schools, just to kind of screen people in case they were carrying those things. And that was exciting, and a great job for myself to learn from. That helped me open my company. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to protect people, and help and stay in the federal market, and especially being from this DC area. I wanted to see what I can do to throw my hat in the ring, so to speak, in the security professional world, and started TIC about almost 7 years ago in 2010, and really specialized in delivery. We were installing and configuring security systems for almost every site you can think of across the DC and a lot of the nation, and really wanted to get more into prime contracting and commercial contracting as a direct source. And Derek Radowski came on board, and with his experience and what he's been doing in the industry and what we were bringing to the table as a small but very competent company, we were able to build that into now servicing some of the biggest federal and civilian agencies for security and for surveillance and for identity management and things like that. And we're extremely content with what we've done, but we continue to service as much as we can in the federal contracting world and in the commercial world.
Okay, excellent. Now, Derek.
My turn. Right?
No, your turn. Let's talk about Derek.
Nice. Well, first of all, TIC, Technology, Integration, and Convergence. When Roger originally created the company, those were the three things he wanted to focus on.
Okay.
When I joined, I thought the integration company would be a much better way of telling people actually what TIC is. But the integration company, essentially delivering technology, delivering integration, and making sure that all those things converge, is essentially what TIC stands for. every 10 minutes of my workday I get asked, so we can make up different things along the way.
It's true.
So 1994 is when I graduated from James Madison University.
Okay.
With a degree in inside linebacking. I did get an actual degree in psychology, which actually has helped me ask open-ended questions throughout my life. But in 1994, the economy wasn't doing so great. And I got a job as a temp for $7.50 an hour in the security business, working at the same position that Roger had in a different warehouse.
Wow.
So 22 years ago, making $7.50 an hour, I actually started to work with my business partner. We both learned this industry the one true way to learn it, which is literally from the lowest level you possibly can all the way up. Both of us have had so many people, so many seasoned individuals in this industry that have taken us under their wings and essentially taught us the various parts, pieces, and how to truly deliver security.
Right.
From the days of working in the warehouse, I actually moved up into inside sales, where I actually had an opportunity to actually sell the equipment instead of putting it on the shelves.
Right, right.
Inside sales, moved out of that to being a manager, opening up a couple different locations for them, moving back to the DC area, essentially moved up the food chain pretty quickly at that organization. Left there to actually work for a manufacturer's representatives group called Security Solutions.
Okay.
Security Solutions, I had 14 products that I was the manufacturer's rep for, 5 states, was recently married before GPS.
Right.
So traveling from A to B was as good as your ADC map was.
Yes.
But I got to shake hands with essentially all the people that I still deal with today in a 5-state region, which was fantastic. The only drawback was I essentially knew my dry cleaner better than my new wife because I was constantly on the road. After doing a large trade show in Las Vegas, a very charismatic gentleman who sits on the board for the American Society of Industrialized Security, who owned an integrator in the DC area, came up to me and asked me if I was sick of flying and driving by all the customers in the Washington, D.C. area, which just happens to be the most powerful city in the history of man.
Yes.
And if you had anywhere to actually do what I was doing, the Washington, D.C. area made the absolute most sense.
That's true.
So I went home, talked to my wife about it, and agreed to go work with him for a very, very small base salary. But he told me if I gave him 6 months, that I would make twice the money I was making today.
So let's talk about this, Derek.
Yeah.
Why is TIC so unique? And I know we only have about 3 or 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
I need to know, and I need to know about the types of certifications you guys have.
Yeah, so we are certified by Underwriters Laboratory, UL, as a CRZH provider, which gives us the ability to go ahead and certify, implement, and maintain SCIFs, Secured Compartmentalized Information Facilities. We also are certified by Underwriters Laboratory to secure ballistics and armaments. We are certified in various access control systems that have to do with FICAM, the Federal Information Credential and Management, which is like a big initiative in the DC area these days as far as access control systems, including working with CertiPath, which essentially is the benchmark for creating a roadmap for FICAM compliance. Me personally, for 14 years, I've had the highest level of certification you have in the industry, which is as a certified protection professional through ASIS, again, the American Society of Industrialized Security.
Okay.
Certifications.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have any veteran status?
So we are a veteran-owned company.
Okay.
We're also a Small Business Administration Certified 8A company, which helps in the
And how much longer do you have?
About 5 years.
About 5 years.
About 5 years or so.
This is 216, so you got 5 on top of that.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
excellent.
And we're also a participant in the GSA schedule, pre-negotiated pricing for the government, which allows us to obviously spread the ability to work with anyone in a pre-negotiated rate.
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, I think in the state of Maryland, we are a minority business entity as well.
Okay.
You know, within security itself, we are DCJS, which is Department of Justice Criminal Services certified, which is the standard certification for hiring a security company. It
Right.
kind of tells you that their people have background checks. And we have I won't say what it is, but we are cleared in the government space. I can't go beyond that, but we have a clearance as well.
So having certifications is great.
Yeah.
It gives somebody who wants to do business with you an avenue to do business with you.
Right.
And I've worked for small companies up to hundreds of millions of dollars of companies. So it's always fantastic to have a certification, a classification for somebody to come to do business with you.
Exactly.
But when you get the chance to actually do the business, you have to perform.
Exactly.
Outright perform. And so the one thing that truly makes TIC different than anybody, including all the big companies out here, any day of the week, I'll put the guys that I have on our team against those guys all day long,
Right.
is instead of providing solutions, we provide outcomes. We provide outcomes.
Okay.
And we truly define those outcomes for our customers. So we don't go to a customer with a solution in mind that we're basically going to sell one product. The first thing we do is shut up and listen.
Right.
And in turn, we ask some difficult questions. So we sell a lot of video surveillance systems, large-scale video surveillance systems. Last 5 years combined, Roger and I have probably deployed and sold over 20,000 IP video surveillance systems. What is the outcome of a video surveillance system? Right? Why is somebody going to put a camera at a location?
Yes.
For the most part, they want to see something, right?
Exactly.
I've walked sites with people.
I want to see.
I want to see, right?
Right.
Let me ask you, Jay, what does want to see mean to you?
Oh my gosh. I want to see if there's some type of activity that might be going on that might not be what I'd like to see outside of my establishment.
So I bet,
Or inside of my establishment.
I bet if we asked the TV viewers, you would literally get a different definition of want to see from everybody that's on that would respond to it.
Right.
So for us, we actually truly define want to see. With the customer, we could break it down to essentially pixels per foot that actually will give them a level of clarity that they can actually see. But for the most part, people are taken aback by that question. They're like, well, I want to see.
Right.
I'm like, well, what is it that you want to see? Male or female, right? Right. Color of the clothes that they're wearing, any identifiable scars, tattoos.
Right.
What is it that we want to see? And for different locations and for different scenarios, you're going to have different levels of quality.
Right.
So we actually have the ability, we come in and actually help them answer that question. So we utilize essentially the scientific method for helping customers define want to see so that we can truly get to that outcome.
Right.
And by the scientific method, the first thing that you need is a baseline. And as a baseline, we come into a customer's location and we actually set up a mannequin. That mannequin's going to look the same during the day, at nighttime. I can put him in uniforms. Essentially, we can set them up so that we can show the customers exactly what that individual will see from those cameras, and they can select exact images that they want. So that if an incident happens, it's not that fuzzy guy you see on TV that they're saying, hey, if you've seen this individual, it is a clear, prosecutable image that they could take to court, or it's a camera scenario that they can see activity if you're trying to see a campus-wide scenario. So for us, pretty passionate about it. But the one thing
we live it. It's our
I know, I can
it's our
understand.
lifeblood.
I can understand.
More than half of our lives has been in it, and you know, I think that comes across because we don't just standardize some kind of box sale for a customer. We actually customize all our solutions, or as I said, outcomes to who we do service.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to have to tell you guys that's a wrap.
Okay.
And we thank you for joining us today, and we will be right back with Eugene and Francois from the Aligned Benefits Group, and this is going to be their second go round with us. So if you guys saw them when they talked about the healthcare, you're going to want to hear what we have to say in this last finish. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We will be right back with our next guest on Where Talent Meets Opportunity, a business show that is dedicated to providing small businesses quality business strategies and resources pertaining to all aspects of small business services, support services, and training.
And welcome back. I'm Jay McElroy, your show host from the WTMO broadcast. And we are here today with Eugene and Francois. They are joining us for their second go round. Today, they're going to be talking to us about how you need to handle your business when it pertains to government contracting and billing and benefits. Now, they're coming to us from the Aligned Benefits Group, And I'm telling you, if you have a company or you know someone who has a company and they are working for the government, you're going to want to listen very closely to everything that they have to say today, because I'm telling you, if you don't get what they're saying today, you could actually find yourself trying to find money to pay your payroll. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And I thank you so very much for coming in once again. I know you were on with us a few days ago, but we want to talk to you gentlemen today, really, if I'm a government contractor, what do I need to know about healthcare and how I should bid that healthcare?
Right. I'll start.
Okay.
Well, first of all, one of the challenges that we have today with small businesses is that they have been accustomed to bidding their contracts with the lowest price.
Yes.
And the government goes with the lowest price,
Yes.
lowest bidder. But the whole point of the whole financial planning with the Small Business Administration is to make certain that your pricing structure is adequate, adequate to recruit and retain talented people. As we all know that you want to recruit the best talent that you can find in order to really win the favor of the government.
Right.
Because if you're able to deliver on time and deliver what they need, they're very happy with you and you get follow-on work. So one of the challenges that we have right now, and it's something that small businesses under 50, I would say, are not really thinking about, is that they're bidding their contracts, but they're not really factoring in what the Department of Labor requires on the federal contract, that you have a certain hourly fee, no
Okay.
more, no less.
Less. Okay.
You have to have that hourly fee built in for every employee in terms of how you bid that contract. Because
Now this is all federal. This is not state. Am I correct?
no, this is federal.
Okay.
Right.
Federal. Okay.
Those people who have 8A companies and things like that, these people have to build up their rates, their labor rates a certain way. You know, on-premise, off-premise costs, FICA, FUCA, Social Security, workman's compensation, all these different things that goes into building your rate or creating a burden, if you will, in order to come up with a total price of what you're going to charge the government for each employee.
Okay.
So one of the challenges that we found, Francois and I, we've been out talking to a lot of businesses, and what happens is that when you finally win a contract where you are now going to go over 50 employees or 50 full-time equivalents, all of a sudden you find yourself in difficulty because you did not factor in the Department of Labor rate for health and welfare benefits.
Okay. Talk to me.
So what happens is that
that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of organizations.
That's a lot of people, right? And when you're under 50, you may not have a personnel department. You may not have a lot of things, but you're not thinking about all that because
Right.
you're so busy being busy
Right.
with all the things you got to do. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to get people to slow down just a little bit, and let's work with them and their accounting departments, their pricing people, and let's make sure that this thing is adequate.
Okay.
So what happens is that all of a sudden you go from an under 50 group to a over 50 group where health benefits are mandated in the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
And you haven't done anything to pay for it. So now you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul in order to do the contract. And then what happens is that your employees are unhappy because they don't have the benefits or the benefits that they thought they were going to get.
Right.
Because you really can't afford the benefits. And it's a catch-22.
Catch-22.
You know? So what we think is really important is that you have to sit down with people like us that know how to plan out forward to ensure that you're going to have the dollars to pay for those benefits. When you're in the private sector, that may not be so much of an issue.
Right.
But when you're in the government contracting issue, and you're an 8A company or you're a woman-owned or whatever, you have to pay attention to off-premises prices and on-premises prices.
Right.
All that's critical. The government is expecting that you have done that. So what happens is that if you win a contract and you haven't done it, okay, they can come back and say, you know what, you're not compliant with us either.
Right, right.
Because we expect you to have all that built in. You haven't built it in.
Right.
So the moral of the story is that with Obamacare, one needs to truly understand what does that mean to me as a government contractor. We can explain it, show it to people so they're prepared, so they have the resources and the funds there to pay for it.
So could you take a minute and maybe just kind of outline some of the things that you would be talking to them about?
Well, let me take an example. What he said, when he said It's built in. Let me make it a little clearer. Take an example in the sense that anytime that you're bidding, the understanding is that you are going to be assisted. I want to make it plain language. Assisted in paying that benefit to your employees. The government is already providing for you $4.27 per hour per employees. Towards that, now that you did not factor that in, and then you present your billing, the government is going to pay you as to what you have. But the assumption is that that is built in. So see, as a business person, if you didn't have that in, that's more of your bottom line that is falling out. Simply because you did not provide for that. So sometimes when we sit with business owners, they keep thinking, it's just coming out of my pocket. But like Jean was saying, if you don't factor it, it's really going to come out of your pocket.
That's right.
If you factor that in, you have credits and other things that are going to help you soften the blow of that. And by the way, you have to realize you're providing benefit to your employees. You're valuing them. You're making them understand how much you want to care for them. And that in turn brings out the best out of them. This is all that we're going to do, but we don't want to do that on the back end. We want to do that on the front end. When you're planning. Because when you're planning, you have control.
Now, Francois, our time is out. And I know you want to say some more.
Thank you.
But we're going to have some information as far as your information is concerned so that they can get that on the roll-ups. Okay? And we will be having some training classes shortly. So I want to say to our audience today, thank you so much for joining us. And these gentlemen are going to be here to answer the questions that you have. Please feel free to contact them going forward. Their roll-up information is available, all that you need to have to speak with them. We thank you once again for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on Where Talent Meets Opportunity. We look forward to taking your business to the next level and increasing your business bottom line in days, not months, even years. Until our next show.